it's really icy outside. There's like an ice storm going on. So I'm sure a lot of people have fallen and gotten hurt in the last 24, 48 hours.
This is one that we should get out quick. A business owner, and people who are inviting people to their house, the general rule is the place has to be safe. And we all know there was an ice storm.
And we're talking about slip and falls.
Slip and falls. It's slip and fall season. And if you are inviting people to your home or place of business, it has to be reasonably safe. We all know there was an ice storm.
So put salt out.
You clear the stuff off the sidewalks and put out some salt. That's as basic.
Free legal advice right there.
If you are inviting people to your property, it has to be safe.
Okay. What if it's not someone's house? What if you're walking down the street outside in the city? What happens?
So the municipalities have a little bit of a different rule, which is called the prior written notice rule. I think it's a bullshit law. If you want to know the truth, it's the rules are written by the municipalities to protect the municipalities, and what it says is, if the municipality hasn't received written notice of a defect, then they can't be held accountable. I don't know. So in a scenario like snow and ice, well, what are you going to do? Send them a written notice in the morning and then somebody slip and falls in the afternoon? So it makes it very hard. We had a really serious case in Canandaigua that we examined a slip and fall where a person was horribly injured. And the prior written notice statute, I think, controlled, and it didn't really seem fair, but we ended up not going forward with the case because of it. So
if it is something that you can move forward in a case, what are you looking for other than did they salt or do what they were supposed to do ahead of time?
Yeah, so what we're always looking for in any injury case, including a slip and fall on ice or a slip and fall on anything, is did the property owner act reasonably? And so if an ice storm starts 5 minutes ago and the ice comes down and a person walks in and slips and falls, is it reasonable to believe that a person can clear the ice every 5 minutes? Probably not.
Okay.
But the ice storm was a day ago. And now if you open your business and invite people to come and you haven't done anything and you're like, well, they'll be okay, that's not reasonable. That's not safe. Okay. So, and if there's a patch of ice that's as big as a quarter that nobody in their right mind could see, that's different than a sheet of ice that's 20 feet by 20 feet that everybody can see from the highway. So those are, but it's the obviousness. And
and if so, spring's around the corner, so all this melts, right? And then now there's all these like divots and different, like, I don't know, there's different holes and things all over the potholes, basically, that your entire car could fit into. If you live in Rochester, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So what is something like that? Like, what are the guidelines with that? Like,
so two really top tips that I would give to business owners or property owners, people that are inviting customers, potentially they've never been there before. One thing that drives me crazy is the gutter that comes down and puts water right where people are supposed to be walking. And that's bad enough. The water makes a slippery surface. They can slip and fall. But days like today, where it's 27, 28 degrees outside, and potentially the roof is black and it's melting just a little bit. So it's 33, 34. So it's putting a little bit of water onto your sidewalk. The gutter comes down and it puts the water where you walk. Now it freezes. That's a problem.
Yeah.
You can't be putting your gutters and putting ice where people walk.
Okay.
The second one is the pothole thing. We all have potholes. We live in New York. It is.
Or like faulty stairs, things like that. Yeah. There's all this stuff. That's
potholes is an obvious one, right? If you have a parking lot and it gets plowed in the wintertime, the plows will dig it up, freeze, thaw, you're going to get holes. Go out there and look so somebody doesn't fall in a hole. I mean, and it's typically trimalleolar fracture, bimalleolar fracture. People step in the hole, they get these horribly serious injuries.
They get really hurt.
Yeah. I know we did the case over there in Victor by, I think it was near Plato's Closet in that plaza.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a sidewalk. And she walked out of the store and it was off the edge where you couldn't even see the pothole, and it was a very big pothole.
Yeah.
And she stepped in and broke her ankle.
Yikes.
Luckily, it wasn't that one wasn't the worst break. Actually, the first trimalleolar fracture I did was the woman going to the funeral at the church.
Oh, yes.
Over in
yes, and she had
down
a
off
horrible injury, and her recovery took forever.
down off St. Paul.
Yeah, and multiple surgeries, right?
Yeah. She was her uncle died. She's going to the funeral, dressed up, wearing high heels, and there was a hole bigger than a basketball right in front of the door of the church, and she never made the funeral. She broke her ankle on the way into the church and took the ambulance.
Yeah.
And that's when we learned how serious those fractures are.
So I think obviously when something like this happens to you, you're not thinking clearly because you've just been injured. But what are you supposed to do when you get hurt? Kind of to cover your ass. I mean, later on you want to sue someone, like something happened to you that shouldn't have happened. What do you do?
The number one thing, if you get hurt on somebody else's property, the number one thing to do is take pictures.
Okay.
And whether it's ice or snow or a hole, a trip and fall, a slip and fall, a fall into a hole. Or have someone else
do it, depending on your injury.
You have your phone. Take your phone out and take more pictures. I would say take 10 or 20 pictures. And we don't want to sue anybody, but if you're hurt because of, we're not here to sue people.
Yeah.
Hopefully you submit your claim to the insurance company. You show them what happened. You show them the scene.
Right.
You show them your injury, and we're able to resolve the case and not file a lawsuit. Honestly, the photos help prevent lawsuits, and they allow insurance adjusters and insurance companies to pay the claim because they're really confident that the person they insured screwed up.
Right, the evidence is right there.
We just took a case yesterday, and it's a tough case. We take tough cases. Mm-hmm. It was a slip and fall on ice from last year, a year ago, and it didn't appear to be a serious injury. Well, now, a year later, it was, I slipped and fell on ice. My back was a little stiff. She's been treating with chiro for a year. Well, now she's getting a back fusion.
Oh.
And she's like, well, I got this really serious injury. It's going to affect me for the rest of my life. Now I want to bring the claim.
Right.
Well, she doesn't have any pictures. She didn't take pictures because she didn't think she was hurt.
Right. And that's not someone's typical instinct, is to like, oh, I fell, let me take a picture.
Well, she's like, I felt like a little twinge, a ting.
Yeah.
I thought I had a little, I bruised it a little. I would be good in a couple of days. I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
Well, here we are a year later, and she's having a life-altering back surgery. She didn't take pictures.
Right.
And
it's just harder to prove.
It's going to be a very difficult case to prove. It's going to be reliant on her testimony. Look, she did call an ambulance that day, so we have the ambulance records, but it's not, if we had the photographs, it'd be a very open and shut case, and it's going to get a lot of scrutiny from the insurance company. It's a year later. I'll tell you right now, they're going to give us a hard time, and we'll end up litigating the case for a long time.
So take photos.
Yeah, take the photos.
All right.